kiss for you.
Let's see. So today I kind of want to look at how you shut down a game. Because for me, my first two videos on the channel were on Multiversus and Xdefiant, and as you probably know by now, both of those are gone. Multiversus shut down a couple days ago, or announced the shutdown a couple days ago, and Xdefiant shut down sometime in 2024, like the end of it, right? I really want to compare these two, not only because they are the first two videos I made on the channel, but also, interestingly, because they both do completely opposite things when it comes to their shutdown. I would consider Xdefiant shutdown a very good thing that they end up doing, and mostly because of what they have here. What they did with Xdefiant was they said, okay, you're not going to be able to download the game anymore from that point on, but servers will remain active until June, so about 6 or 7 months. Any stuff you had bought, including the Ultimate Edition, which I had purchased, as I talked about in that video, I got a full refund for that, as well as any players that had made a purchase within the last 30 days, they also got a refund. So the first thing was refunding customers of their money, regardless of what it was for the 30 days, as well as any Ultimate Founders Pack. And the reason that was dignified or kind of justified is because the Ultimate Founders Pack included those extra operatives, basically factions that you could early unlock, and those weren't going to be basically fulfilled under the assumption of this. So that's the first thing, is refunding anyone with an Ultimate Pack as well as last 30 days. The second thing they decided to do is release the content that basically anyone had not unlocked before. So what that meant is that there was skins and prestige unlocks and everything like that, and basically all the content was unlocked. Everything's unlocked, right? So I'm not sure if there's one of these has an image of all guns unlocked, all skins unlocked, all camos unlocked, everything, right? So it was just, instead of having everything here locked, it just unlocked everything when the game was basically shutting down. So it was really nice because you didn't have to grind for anything. It was just, hey, thank you for playing, and here it is. The next thing they did is they released all the content they had for season 3, 4, 5, and 6. It was a giant patch that had a lot of things to it. There was 14 new, I don't think it has it here, right? It's 14 new, why isn't things showing up? There's 14 new weapons, 14 new maps, 3 new modes, 3 new seasonal factions. It was just multiple years of content basically set for the game that they released during Season 3. So that was very nice. They had released stuff related to the Assassins, there was some Watchdog stuff, there was more Far Cry stuff, and so it was very exciting to see that in the game, as well as all the new content. And so they basically said, hey, we're not going to be able to, you can't download the game if you want to, it's going to shut down soon, but we're going to give you your money back, plus the content we were already looking for, and anything you needed to grind for, right? And I would say that's a pretty good way to kind of shut down the game, is by giving you the content that you wanted. Multiversus did literally the opposite. So Multiversus is shutting down, similar system. It is going, you can still download it right now because it was free, but you are not going to be able to once, I think May happens, end of May, May 2025. The biggest difference, though, is that the 2 new characters, which are somewhere around here. The 2 new characters, which are Aquaman and Lola Bunny, are going to be, you don't unlock them. So the biggest problem with the Multiversus one here is that you don't unlock anything. The only benefit to this is that they're giving you an offline mode that you have to download separately before it gets delisted. But they're delisting the game. They're not unlocking the 2 new characters that the new game, the new season is coming with. They are also restricting in-app purchases, which Xdefiant did as well. But because of that, they're also no longer giving you, they're not unlocking any of the things you hadn't previously unlocked for free. They're not, you can't even pay for it, right? It's a very bad system to where if you have the game like I have, and you don't have a ton of stuff unlocked, and you're not going to grind materials now at the end of the game to get that stuff unlocked, you literally don't have access to a bunch of characters. Starting May, when it gets delisted, the offline mode is going to contain only the characters that you have unlocked and nothing else. They're not going to give them to you for free. They're not going to give you the new characters that are coming out for free. They're not going to release anything that previously existed from them. You can't even buy the remainder of characters. So when this shuts down, where is it? May 28th, right? May 30th, whatever it is. you are only going to have the characters that you unlocked by grinding in general. You're not going to have anything you paid. You're going to have stuff you paid for, but you're not going to be able to pay. Like, in-app purchases right now, as a recording, are disabled. So you can't buy Gleamium to buy characters. Whatever characters you have currently and whatever Gleamium and resources you have currently are what you have until the game shuts down. You can't buy more Gleamium to get more characters. They're not going to give it to you for free. So you end up just going into this offline training mode with basically nothing if you start as a new player, which is ridiculous, right? Meanwhile, Xdefiant's giving you all the content they had ready to go for like a year or 2 years and unlocking everything the game had to offer and giving you refunds. Multiversus is doing none of that. You're not getting refunds on anything you purchased. You're not getting any real benefit to playing the game once it's delisted. You're not getting the new characters for free, the old characters for free, anything that had been already developed for the game, you're just not getting it. And beyond that, I didn't want to get into kind of the other controversy, but there is some controversy with a couple of the people and how the kind of game went down and how the studio went down and all that. And say what you will about the whole Xdefiant situation, what it was, but the director, Mark, here was a very outspoken part of the community of this game and really tried his best to make it as good as possible. Obviously, it doesn't always work out, and it's explained here, but he really did care about the game and was trying to make it better through thick and thin, right? Here's a heartfelt message here. Meanwhile, all Multiversus gives you in terms of director and attachment is this one statement. Where'd it go? One statement that says, Season 5 will serve as the last update. You'll be able to have an offline mode. Visit for more details, right? You don't get anything, and I'll go here and, right? It's a very quick write-up. There's nothing personal, no kind of talks about anything. Talks about the new characters, earnable through gameplay, you know. All online features will conclude on May 30th. There'll be an offline mode. Real money is no longer available, no longer purchased. Still use the remaining. Additional Season 5, the game is no longer able to download. Like, there's nothing here that talks about the community or the aspect they've built or how crazy the beta launch is or nothing. There's no personality here. And so it's just a really good comparison between a game that I think did really well and how it handled shutdown, which is Xdefiant, and a game that does catastrophically badly with Multiversus. It's just, it really is like, even if you didn't like Xdefiant, how that game shut down and how it went about ending its service with giving back to the community as much as possible was very good, and compared to Multiversus is not that good. I had a bunch of issues with Multiversus, as I've talked about in that video, that was kind of related to there's nothing for people to grind here and kind of look forward to. And I ended up being right, you know, even with the new characters being added, there was not that same level of care and attention put into subsequent release characters and just information, right? You had a requirement to basically pay $10 per character. And I want you to kind of understand how ridiculous that 10 character limit is. So if I go to one of my main games, Brawlhalla, right? Go to the DLC. You can buy where is it? The Brawlhalla, Brawlhalla All Legends current and future for about $40. This includes all legends in the game. There's about 52 of them, I believe, from current and a future. And basically, when a future one comes out, you go to the store, you buy it for in-game gold, usually 7,200. I have 100,000 gold at this point, so it's not, you know, a factor there. And that's about $40, all current and future. Now, obviously, there's some differences, but like that's the model that the other platform fighter has, which is about $40. Alternatively, you look at stuff like Rivals 2, which, okay, can the search work? You look at Rivals 2, Rivals V for the 2, and you have, you know, mostly positive reviews here, and there's a limited amount of characters in this game. I think there's like 10 or 12, but you have a workshop mode, so you can add as many characters as you want to this game, and this game's about $30. So the other two platform fighters that are popular use different models. Rivals has a base price. Multiversus probably wouldn't be able to get away with a base price, but what it was able to do is just give you a way to basically bundle characters, and it didn't do that. And so now when they're saying, hey, these two characters can be earned through gameplay, it's like, why not just unlock them? You're at the end of the rope, you're sunsetting the game, why are you still requiring people to grind for this game? Because I will remind you, Steam isn't everything, as we've talked about before. Multiversus has a total of 1,000 people, 1,800 people. This is a high point. You can see, that all of a sudden, let me go back to a week. Boom. because the game's shutting down, everyone's trying out to see the new characters and all that. But fundamentally, it's been going at like 600, 500, down to 200 people. Now, obviously, this game is available on other platforms, but I would think Steam is a pretty high mark because there are obviously, you know, other platform fighters, and PC tends not to have a lot of these. And so, look at this game, and you see that over the past, you know, when it had its peak at 140,000 players, had another peak of 114,000 in May 2024, and then it basically just went down from there pretty aggressively. Like if I look at a 3-month span, it was like hovering around 2,000 for a little bit there, and then as people kind of stopped caring about the game, it kind of went lower. And that might, you know, be a critique of, oh, maybe it's just that platform fighters aren't really kind of doing well. And I kind of want to talk about this, I guess, here as well, and that Xdefiant shut down, not because there weren't enough people, and it's kind of hard to track this because it was with the Ubisoft stuff. Xdefiant didn't go down because there wasn't enough people. There's reportedly 10 to 20,000 people. It shut down because it couldn't make enough money. No one was buying the battle pass. No one was buying the skins. Like, there was some cool stuff in the battle pass, but there wasn't nearly enough interesting in this kind of thing to be good, right? You'd have boring skins, some boosters that didn't really matter, some coins that didn't, like, there was nothing here that really incentivized people to spend money on the game. And that progressed and persisted throughout its entirety, which ultimately led, even though people were playing it, even though the content was good, that ultimately led to its downfall. People could call and complain about the netcode, but ultimately the netcode was fixed in a reasonable enough time where it wasn't the deciding factor to shut the game down. The factor was it wasn't making money, it was costing too much money, Ubisoft has to cut costs somewhere, it does it with this, right? So that's important to know. It was not for a lack of people. Multiversus, on the other hand, you could actually argue was a lack of people, considering that it was hovering around, you know, the low thousands and then into kind of like the 800, 900 range for a very consistent amount of time. And in the last month has definitely not even cracked 1,000 people at any point during the month. So that's very big, especially for a game like this that requires a lot of people. Free-for-all 4v4 is really popular. Not 4v4, you know, 1v1, v1v1. That's pretty popular and another thing, so you need a lot of people. And it has a decent amount of reviews, right? It has a large quantity of reviews, a relatively stable amount. But if you compare that to Brawlhalla, which is on its like 8th year, I believe, you're getting, you know, 13,000 people playing this game. It's a pretty consistent peak of 13,000. Over the last 6 months, 20,000, 17,000, 19,000. It's only recently, in the past couple months, gone down a little bit. But that's not for any quality difference. That's maybe just because of other things coming out, right? They tend to do that. And this game, by the way, gives you 4 characters a year for free. You know, you have to grind the coins and stuff, but they give you that for free. Multiversus never did that. It never gave you characters for free. It never gave you enough coins to be able to buy characters. Like, it didn't work like that. And so you could never really reasonably buy the characters. Brawlhalla is still around because you can. I can go in, buy the new characters with in-game gold for pretty cheap. Have no problems. I also have stuff to grind for. I can unlock different colors and different variants and things. And so there's always something here to do, which I think was very important. And the reason Multiversus didn't really end up having that is because they didn't have stuff to do. I talked about that in that video. There was nothing to grind for. So having these 2 characters here not be unlocked and having to earn through gameplay feels ridiculous, right? It's that last slap in the face that there is not enough respect for the player here in this game, and that's why it shut down. But hopefully that was interesting, and I kind of wanted to compare these two because they are really, I guess, the peak versions of what they are. This was a failure because of the gameplay model they went with and the things they messed up during the beta, and it failed because of lack of players. Xdefiant didn't. It had a lot of passion, a lot of community, a lot of players. It failed because it couldn't make money. And so you kind of see the flip side, right? It can't make enough money, it gets shut down. It's too greedy with how it makes money and how it's monetizing its stuff, it gets shut down. So I thought that was an interesting comparison, especially considering the difference in response that I've seen. I've seen a lot of people commend this here. If I go down to the replies, I've seen, or I have to log in, I guess, now to see replies, but I've seen a lot of people commend this, right? You have a lot of 19,000 hearts, saves, a lot of views. You have a lot of respect and engagement for this game, even if it did shut down in unfortunate times. Another article I saw here really quick was this one, right? A fighting game's sudden closure brings the worst, most predictable tantrum from gamers. This was an Inverse article talking about that vitriol that happens. I didn't see a ton of vitriol for the Xdefiant one. I did see people saying, of course, it would fail, but I saw people quite mad that what was happening with this game, because they could see it. They could see this game failing. They knew what was happening. They knew how bad it was. They knew the lack of quality of what was happening, and they were really mad about it. And so I just think that community response is another aspect of it. They did not like how this game went out, and they did like how this game went out. So hopefully there's an interesting comparison, an interesting contrast between the two giant sides here with these studios. You have Ubisoft here shutting it down what I would call gracefully, and then you have Multiversus WB shutting it down possibly in the most disruptive way you can. So hopefully that was interesting. Hopefully that was a good tie over. I'm still working on my massive hour-and-a-half video on MMO, so hopefully that will be out soon. Subscribe to the channel if you're interested in game reviews, game highlights, game retrospectives. Check out my latest video on Ghost Runner 2 if you're interested in speedrunning games, and I'll see everyone in the next video.